Hey, welcome to Two Old Geeks. I'm Rob.
I'm Trace.
And I'm Jay.
Hey, go ahead.
Today we'll be talking about The Mandalorian.
Yeah, and this is a first in a subscriber series where we invite some subscribers to join us. So Jay's going to be joining us. He's a subscriber, and we the subscribers. If something you're interested in, maybe we'll invite you. We do it in a very unscientific, completely biased way. So you might get the invite, and then again, maybe not. But so as far as Mandalorian, storyline, time frame, where it's at, what do you think about it, Jay?
I don't know. I don't know about the time frame between.
I think it's like 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
And between the new series, but I don't know about the time frame of it.
What do you think about it, Rob?
I kind of liked it because it kind of has that old Western feel. You know,
Yeah.
There was times that when we watched Star Trek, they do like a Western version. It was kind of kick-ass.
Yeah.
So I kind of liked it that this still has like almost like a Clint Eastwood kind of way. Especially the first episode where he goes to the bar and he's just like kicks butt and takes names.
Yeah, it's well, whenever Jon Favreau was making it, instead of trying to base it off Star Wars, he decided he was going to try to base it off things Star Wars was inspired by. So he went back to those like Flash Gordon serials and mythology and like westerns and samurai movies, things that inspired it. So I think that was a real good take on it. And so, I mean, you see in Mandalorian, you see, it's like an old western.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you get the guy trying to break the horse, and you get Mando trying to break the blurg. Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
And so then, you've got the Magnificent Seven, which is an old western that was based on Seven Samurai by Akira Kurosawa.
Yeah.
And so you had an episode like that was based on the Magnificent Seven. So
See,
that was
always
pretty cool.
It also brought to mind Lone Wolf and Cub, where he's traveling with the child.
Oh yeah, man, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. So it had a good western feel. As far as like the set designs and stuff, I really liked it because it kind of lent more toward the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Now, was you a fan of the sequel trilogy?
I am. I'm a fan of all things that are Star Wars movies. I really get into, the action scenes. I'm like a kid.
Yeah.
You sit in the movie theater, it's like, oh wow, I get into that a lot. The Mandalorian, I was really impressed with the amount of detail that they put into it, the thought process that's gone into it. It wasn't just a let's wing it and go. It was it leaned more toward the original. Mando has a Boba feel to him, I guess, for me. I enjoyed it. I like the characters, the amount of characters from the original trilogy you see kind of in the background, the stormtroopers, even though the Empire's done or fell, you still see them, and then they throw a little humor with him, the last, I think it was episode 7 or 8, that, they're shooting at they can't hit anything.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you still-
Right. Making fun
you
of
still get that
stormtroopers.
original trilogy feel from it. That's what
Yeah.
I enjoyed about it.
Well, I like too. Jon Favreau. He said I try to make this show like my big brother's taking all the good Star Wars toys, and the only thing I have left is like Ugnaughts and IG-88 and Gonk the Droid. So you see a lot of these real deep cuts into Star Wars that you'd have to be a big fan to enjoy. But what I like about Mandalorian is that, if you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to enjoy it this much, and if you've never seen Star Wars before, you're going to enjoy it this much.
Yeah.
So I mean, he really designed it so it's a good entry point if you've never seen Star Wars at all.
If you never watched it, I guess you could just jump in and it's a whole new storyline, even though it's part of the universe.
What about Pedro Pascal plays Din Djarin, the Mandalorian? Did you guys like him? Did you like him?
Well, see, I never really had anything to do with him because I never watched a lot of the Game of Thrones. I know, don't hold that against me. so I was like, this was fresh for me. I didn't know nothing about him and everything. And then when the season ends, spoilers, that they literally took off his helmet, and I was like, okay, who's this guy? I'm sure everybody else was like, oh. But for me, I was like, okay, who's this guy?
I thought he did a good job. I mean,
now, is it true that half the scenes was just him voicing over a stunt man doing
yeah,
stuff?
I mean, you got to realize you got to protect your star. Like in the, what's cool thing is like one of the, anytime he's using a weapon, a gun, a guy named Brandon Wayne is in the suit, and that's John Wayne's grandson.
Is that right?
Yeah, man, that's cool. And yeah, there's
But
your
why?
wrestling
The gun's
connection.
not real.
Still, just to be able to draw the gun and look professional.
Oh, okay.
You know, instead of, you know.
If anybody's going to draw a gun, it's going to be a Wayne.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I mean, but you know that brings up some rumors. You know, they said that Pedro, he had a problem with wearing the mask all the time, and I can understand that. The rumors said that he kind of got together with Kathleen Kennedy, and there was like a standoff between him and Jon Favreau, where he said, you know, in season 2, I want to have the mask off more. I don't know if any of that's true. I think Pedro is kind of a professional, and I think as long as they're writing checks to him, he'll wear that mask all day long. Would you wear the mask?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Would you be in Mandalorian?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My
right.
beard might stick out the bottom.
Yeah.
But
So I don't really think that's a real issue. I've seen a few things, and I've seen Game of Thrones that he was in, and there was some movie the other day he had standalone mustache. Don't do a standalone mustache, Pedro. Only person pull that off is Sam Elliott.
Oh,
It's like.
But he's nothing but a stash, though.
No,
Yeah. It's like I wear these Kangol hats, and there's like one guy that can wear them this way, and that's Samuel L. Jackson. Nobody else can wear them that way. Yeah, so
Don't talk like that.
so yeah, so I guess if you're the moral of the story is if your name's Sam, you can get away with anything, right? Standalone mustaches and wearing your hat backwards. But what about the character Cara Dune, which is played by Gina Carano? You guys got any thoughts about that?
Well, see, I knew that she was an MMA
Yeah,
fighter
yeah.
beforehand, so that's the only, and I didn't really see a lot of that. So I like the character, and I know that she's going to be cosplayed to death coming the next Comic-Cons that's open.
Well, first of all, I'm a huge Gina Carano fan. So I followed her when her MMA career started and when her MMA career ended. And she fought for Strikeforce, and she's really one of the pioneers for women's MMA. And from there, she was on American Gladiators for a little bit, and I was a fan of that original show, and they tried to make a remake. And she's made some low-budget movies. She's been in some blockbusters too. She was in Deadpool. But yeah, I'm on my Instagram. I have like 3 people I follow. Gina Carano is one of them. Yeah, so she's.
I've seen her in the trailer for the new series, and so she's definitely a character who's going to stick around for a while.
Yeah, and they tried to give her a lot of grief lately. She posted a picture online. I think it was on her Instagram, or it might have been her Twitter. I'm not on Twitter, but it was of Nazi Germany, and all these guys was doing the Heil Hitler sign, and there was one guy in the whole crowd that just has arms crossed like that. And that's really all she said, but she was trying not to go along with the narrative. You know, be your own person. Right. Well, a lot of people just really come down on her. You know, thought that she was anti this and anti that, and you know they tried. We kind of belong to a cancel culture today, so they like tried to get Disney to take her out of Mandalorian. And you know, so Gina wasn't apologetic. She stuck to her guns, and she's a real good role model. And I think she's a fantastic addition to the show. And the last episode, there's a scene where Pedro he gets Moff Gideon blows up this little power supply, and he's unconscious. And the Cara Dune, Gina Carano's got to drag him off into a little building. Well, normally they would get a dummy that's real light. Right. But Gina is so strong, she just grabbed the actual actor and just drug him into the room.
Well, I like the way they gave the character more of a backstory than, you know, because they didn't have to give her a backstory. But the fact that she was like, what was it, shock trooper? Is that what it was called? Yeah, shock trooper, and then she kind of left the whole order and everything, or it all fell apart and stuff like that. So it's kind of, and plus she's got that little rebel tattoo
yeah,
there.
Rebel tattoo, yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, what about Carl Weathers' character, Grief Cargo? What do you think about him?
Which one's that?
He was the guy that gave out the bounties.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Creed, man. You know Creed.
No, actually, I don't. I never watched any of them.
Oh, you never watched Rocky?
Nope.
I forgive you.
Hollow.
But
no, he's a good actor. I've seen him in other things.
Man,
He's
I
a
love
good
it.
actor.
Yeah, I hadn't seen. I mean, one of my favorite movies, Predator, with Schwarzenegger. He was in there.
Oh yeah,
yeah, man. That was when he was young.
Now I thought his, I guess his acting or seemed a little dry.
Yeah, he said
Seemed
that.
a little forced. Like, hey, Mando, you know, it's you need to lighten up a little bit.
One of the things he said that he had a hard time with is acting against somebody with a helmet on. He said because when he acts, he looks right into the eyes of whoever he's speaking to, and so when you're and so you kind of feed off their emotions and off their facial expressions, and the better they are, the better you are. Well, with a helmet, I mean, he's basically, you know, I mean, he might as well be looking at a lamppost. And so, you know, he said he had a real hard time with that. And I think he even asked for some scenes when he was doing his part that he would take the helmet off so that he could actually see the actor and play off of it. What about, first of all, what about Baby Yoda? I guess we should say the child. What did you think about that?
That was a surprise. You know, obviously a lot of people when you first watch it, and you weren't expecting that. That was a left field for me.
Yeah.
It was great though. I mean, to actually, I know there was in the original or the Star Wars universe, there's Yoda and Yaddle, I believe is female, and it doesn't. You don't get much information on their species or, you know, if there's any more of them out there or whatever. But for them to bring a child who's 50 years old, you know, it's wonderful. It's been a huge marketing.
Oh man, it
deal
saved Mattel because they was losing tons of money on that sequel trilogy.
But I wonder where they're going to go with it. I wonder where they're going to develop. Is he going to be a long-term character, or is Mando just going to drop him off and then the story goes another way? Or
I think that if they were ever thinking about dropping him off, those thoughts have maybe passed simply because he's so popular.
Right.
And plus, you got this whole. You're probably not. You may be. I don't want to speak for you. I don't know if you're familiar with the Lone Wolf and Cub series, but it's an old samurai series, and at some point, I definitely want to do a video on it. And but it's about an assassin who travels with his son, and which seems odd. And so it's called Lone Wolf and Cub. So they kind of modeled, you know, Mandalorian off Lone Wolf and Cub in that he's a bounty hunter, not an assassin, but he's a bounty hunter that travels the galaxy, and he's got this child in his care. So that's kind of interesting. What did you think, Rob, first time you saw him?
Okay, so I thought it was cool that he took a connection to it because they're both considered in the Star Wars the way they say foundlings, kind of like orphans.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was cool that he was actually kind of superimposing the way he felt about being alone and losing his family on this child who's basically in the same position. Now, of course, we learned that it's force sensitive, and I thought that was pretty cool. And I also thought it was cool was when he went to deliver the child, that one guy had that clone emblem on his sleeve
from Camino.
And you're like, okay, was they getting ready to clone him, or are they trying to make him more, you know, force sensitive bunch of clones or something? So I mean, I love something that throws up tons of questions so that it can be answered later on down the road.
Yeah.
And even, you know, at that time, now we know that Palpatine was still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm wondering if they're going to play that he was actually wanting the child because he was so force sensitive.
It could.
Or midichlorians.
I hope they do their own thing, and I hope they stay away from the Skywalker saga.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and they tip their hat to, you know, the prequels and the sequels and mainly the original trilogy. Right. But I hope they stay away from the Skywalker saga and do their own thing. Which brings me to my next subject.
Hold on. One more thing I'll say about Baby Yoda.
No, go ahead.
Grant Imahara is the one that helped create the animatronics and stuff for it. He died recently. Great guy. Hate that happened. but he did such a great job for Mythbusters and for them and everything else, and it's just a loss for all geeks everywhere. And I hate to get emotional, but
I
he was
remember.
a pretty freaking awesome dude.
Yeah, he was in a series I like called Star Trek Continues. He played Sulu.
Yeah.
And if you're not off topic here, but if you're an original Star Trek fan, you need to check those out on YouTube. Star Trek Continues. But let's talk about the music for a second.
All right.
Ludwig Göransson. So he's the one to come up with a soundtrack. And he's a real young guy, and he thinks outside the box. And most people that would be doing a soundtrack for a Star Wars show would try to copy or base it on something John Williams had done.
Right.
But Ludwig really went out on his own. And so you got this real iconic sound. Matter of fact, the first part of it, he did with the recorder, like you used to play with in high school, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but it's amazing. It's amazing. And you know how in the old Clint Eastwood movies you had
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, he's got a certain little tune that he does for Mandalorian. And it's just sweet.
Right.
I mean, I know you're a big fan of soundtracks. What do you think about it?
Well, that's what I liked about it, because it was standalone. It, like you said, it had nothing to do with any other Star Trek music whatsoever.
Star Wars.
Or Star Trek. Star Wars. But yeah, it's awesome. It fits perfectly. It's kind of one of those musics that carries the scene. You know, it introduces the character. You hear that music, you're like, okay, yep. And they did an awesome job.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I think it's going to become a ringtone, or you know, it's definitely something that's catchy. It's
not loud enough for my death old either.
Well, but it's very distinctive. You hear that as soon as it starts, you know what that music is.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job. It'd be interesting to see what he does in season 2. But yeah, that main theme was spot on. So, what are your thoughts and hopes for season 2? What are you hoping for season 2? What would you like to see? What would you not like to see, or what?
I'm more curious than anything to see where, just like we said, the child, where that goes, where Mando, you know, the trailers that I've seen. I'm just completely curious to where the storyline's going to go. I know there's so many new characters, or so many the different scenes that you see in the new trailer, and you're like, man, where are they going with this? I'm like Robert. I like the not knowing. There's so many questions. So many avenues. There's, you know, you hear the rumor of Ahsoka. You know, whether she's going to be part of it or not. I don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions, but it just makes me. I want to see the new season. I'm ready for it. You know, bring it on.
What are your hopes and thoughts of season 2?
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
Yeah, if they bring Boba Fett in there, I don't know how they're going to work it, how they're going to explain, because they're going to have some explanations to come up with. But yeah. And who was the actor that did all the clones?
Tamora Morrison.
Yeah, rumor is that they're bringing him on set to be Boba Fett.
Go ahead. I'm
sorry.
No, go ahead.
There's one character that Quill that they killed off. I really would have liked to have seen them develop him into the next season as like Mando's, you know, refuge. You know, a place for him to, if things get bad, I can go back and hang out with Quill. Do you know who?
Yeah, Nick Nolte. Yeah, did the voice of
was
that.
Just like,
Now, I don't know.
I hated that they killed the character, but it's good because it lets you know that, you know, it is a place of consequences. You know, all the good guys don't always win all the time.
I thought it was cool to see that race of characters again.
Ugnaught.
Because their race is the ones that basically built. Was it Coruscant or whatever it was?
There was no Cloud City.
Yeah. And it's just kind of cool to see that, you know, they still keep certain races. It's like a nod to the old stuff.
I believe they originally had them in the, maybe wrong, but didn't they have them in the original Death Star too?
They may have been they may have been in the background too. Well, my thoughts on season 2 is, first of all, in the Lone Wolf and Cub series, which I know I keep going back to that. The baby carriage has all these weapons on it.
Mm-hmm.
So my prediction is that they weaponize the cradle that they have and that. So also, as far as Ahsoka being in there, I heard she was going to be in one episode. That's fine. I mean, Dave Filoni is involved, and she's kind of his creation, so I understand that. And Boba Fett, I like the idea of Boba Fett from the standpoint that, you know, having somebody that's the mirror opposite of Mandalorian. You know, somebody that you could have a duel with on the old Western streets, you know.
Right.
Boba Fett on one end and Din Djarin on the other. I think that would be neat. But when you bring Boba Fett back, you're kind of hurting Star Wars a little bit. The reason being is because, you know, the Emperor, he came back.
Right.
And somebody else came back. Oh, Darth Maul. They brought Darth Maul back in the Clone Wars series. So now you're going to bring Boba Fett back. So what you're doing is you're making death in Star Wars not mean anything. So it's okay to bring a character back, but when you start bringing 2 characters back, 3 characters back, you're kind of undermining the story there. It needs to have consequences. So even though I'm kind of excited about having Boba Fett back, at the same point, you know, I almost wish he just died in the Sarlacc pit.
Well, that's what I was hearing mention, that the fan theories that you see online was that he jetpacked out. You know, that he didn't actually die. You know, he got out at a later time, but he didn't die for 1,000 years of death.
How do you think they're going to explain the dark saber? Because it was last seen in Clone Wars.
Right.
So how are they going to explain how he's got it?
I don't know, but you know that's another character. Sabine Wren, I think, is another character from Rebels that they're thinking about bringing back. And
she actually had it and give it to one of the families, didn't she? And that went in Rebels.
Yeah. So I mean, they'll have some explanation, and it was cool to see, you know, and it's nice when they throw little Easter eggs in there. Anybody else who wasn't a Star Wars fan would be like, hey, that's a cool looking lightsaber. But Star Wars fans are like, whoa, dark saber.
So I guess that brings the question whether Moff is he force sensitive? Is he force wielding? Is he?
I don't think.
Just a guy happened to luck on the sword.
Well, the guy that plays him is, I'm going to murder his name. It's like Giancarlo Esposito or something like that. He plays such a good bad guy.
Right.
He plays, you know, he's in Breaking Bad, obviously, and but I see him as a bad guy in something else the other day. I can't think of it. But anyway, he's a great villain, but he's not a brawn guy. He's not a tough guy.
Right.
He's not Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when his greatest weapon is anybody's greatest weapon, which is the mind. You know, so I think he's going to be more of a Grand Moff Tarkin type character where he thinks. You know, he thinks his way out of the situation. Just like when he was fighting Din Djarin, he turns around with his big cannon, and he's just got a pistol, and he just looks down at that power supply and hits that power supply and blasts him and nearly kills him.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a smarter move. So let's see. From there, let's go to talk about our the Baby Yoda cradle I made, which I posted some pictures on Facebook. And I took a kitty litter box.
I'm trying to figure out how to get over that wire.
It was a new one. I didn't have to scrape kitty poop out of it. And but basically, I cut it down with a Dremel, painted it with that spray-on plastic, added some foam to it, and then painted it and distressed it up because I wanted something special for my little baby Yoda. And
For my little baby Yoda.
So I thought it'd display good down in my little geek room. So. So I like making stuff like that when you can't buy it. And speaking of Baby Yoda, if you want to grab that, Robert, we're going to have a giveaway in this video. And to be part of it, you have to be a subscriber and you have to comment. So all subscribers who comment, their name will go in a hat. We'll draw it out, and whoever gets it, we'll get that mailed to them. If you're overseas, that's cool. And there are some mailing restrictions due to the pandemic. But as soon as that's lifted, we'll get it to you. But it's open to anybody who's a subscriber. Just comment below this video, and we will get that to you. Like I said, the winner will be announced next video. And speaking of which, our last video, we had a little contest for 100 subscribers. And the winners there, we're going to give them a shout out, was Carla Perdome. And she won, as well as Iodo, Dwarven Ranger. And my Dwarven's a little rough, so I don't know if I pronounced that right. We have a lot of orcs here in Kentucky, but not a lot of dwarfs. And also a shout out to Cody Fields 5327. It's hard to believe there's 5,327 Cody Fields. I wonder if they have a convention every year. I wonder if like they're like, hey, I'm 2,643, Cody Fields. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm
Just a
722.
little number.
Yeah. So congratulations, guys. I'm happy for you guys. And is there anything else? Oh yeah, we want to present.
We want to give Jay a shirt for coming on to Old Geeks, and if I can reach it, we featured this on our Instagram page, and we want you to have that too. It's a poster, a Mandalorian poster.
Awesome.
So you can take that home and
Thank you.
have the kids fight over it.
No, this is going in Dad's spot. Kids are not fighting over this.
Be careful wearing that 2 Old Geeks shirt because it drives women crazy.
Oh.
Yeah. Just to fight them off with a lightsaber.
My wife will appreciate that.
Okay, all right. I'm done. You done?
No, I just want to say thanks to you guys for having me on. Appreciate it. I thoroughly enjoyed this.
No, it's cool.
This is an avenue for me to talk to people that enjoy the same thing. Absolutely, my wife and kids, they're not much into it. So.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's great.
happens.
It's great.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Let's
give
get
us,
you guys
give us a
together.
holler anytime you just want to rap about something.
Awesome.
You good?
I'm good.
I'm done.
I'm done.
All right, we're done.